Yes, we are going to dive right into it. Lion Flood, your podcast host, content creator. And today we are going to go over something that I believe that everyone can find value in and everyone needs, and that is four best remote podcast recording tools. But we're going to keep it simple, right? Some ways that you can implement these right away. Now, one of the great things about jumping into this is that since you do have so many different options, you don't have to feel as though this is the best or the only option for me. I'm just presenting you to you four of my ones that I've had dealings with and just giving you my opinion on pros and cons and why we can do that. So we're not going to make this too long, but we're going to jump right into this and let's just go right into it, right? So again, these are four tools that you can implement right away and push towards having this work for you, okay? Now, what before we do that, I want to know what platforms have you tried? Um, what you thought of those platforms and what's the quality, what was the quality like in those, and then also tell me whether you would recommend it, because that's one of the key things. If you would not recommend it, then it's probably not the right platform for others as well, for who you probably run in your circle with. But I want you to let me know in the comments. Tell me which one of these have you tried, which one of those have worked, which one of those that you feel you would recommend. Now, one of the first things that we're going to look into here when we start working into that, before we get into it, is that you need, no matter which platform you go on, you need to be in a soft and quiet room. You don't have to have the studio like you see here with all the fancy equipment, but if you're starting out, you need to be in a room that's going to absorb the sound. Put some towels and pillows around you. You also need to have an external microphone. Your microphone that you have in your computer using it, it's not the best one that you need to be using in order to get the podcast quality out. And you also have to have headphones. Why? Because when you're listening back to that sound, it's going to let you know whether or not it's sounding good. And then you can be able to make adjustments right there on the fly. Again, you don't need all the studio equipment as you see in the picture there, but you need something simple. You need something to ensure that the sound and the quality is out there so your audience can enjoy it. Also, within this, first one that's coming up is Squadcast. Now, Squadcast, it works on both Mac and PCs. It records in files, waves, MP3s, MP4. It also does video. You have no guest requirements, and you also get a split track. So let me break that down because you're going to see that in a few other ones as well. Basically, no guest requirements means sometimes, for an example, if you go to Zoom, Zoom will require your guest to fill out a form. It require other informations, emails, everything else, and they have their specific reasons for that. I don't want my guests to go through all of that headache because sometimes they don't want to. But also, you get a split track. Split track is simply means you get basically two tracks of that whole entire interview, right? That whole entire podcast episode, content creation that you're putting out. It splits it up so that you're able to hear both sides. That's a good thing. It really is. They could have a little bit better things, but it's a really good thing. So let's take a look at some of the information in Squadcast right here, right? So this is just a little short little video, and again, you can do more research on that yourself, but it gives superior listening, element, auto drift. It has AI tools, so it is a good function. Here's a small example of like seeing Zoom and Squadcast when I say about how they're elevating the video quality. Zoom is 720p, with Squadcast automatically records in 1080p. Right? And you can see a small difference in the shading of your guests or you even when you're on screen. That's a small example of Squadcast. Cost, right? That's what we all want to know about, right? So Squadcast starts you off with a free trial. You do have the option of a free trial. For indie artists, which means you're just doing it yourself, you don't have any sponsors, anyone helping you, no teams. It's at $20 a month, and the pro version, as you can see, is 40. Studio version 80. Enterprise. But if you're just starting off, you have the indie, right? And that's a fair thing to look at. So you can go and see some of the hours and everything else in that. Just take a look at that. Some of the cons that I refer to is no transcription, no editing, and no podcast hosting, right? Now, those aren't necessarily deal breakers. It is not something that's going to say, well, hey, they don't give me transcriptions. They have other services online where you can use that. Is Descript is one that everyone uses. You get the free version. You get a few hours of that a month, I think it is. I use Descript as well, and I use Swell AI. That's one of my favorites that I use there. No editing, which is a con. Some people would like to edit within the app. And it has no podcast hosting. So that means you can't hold your podcast there. You have to go and purchase or find a free service to host it at. Not necessarily a deal breaker, but just so you know. Okay. The next one, Alitu. Alitu is for PC and for Mac. The files are only MP3 for Alitu. Transcriptions, right? You do get transcriptions with them, and you have the ability to edit and podcast hosting. It does allow. Okay. Again, these are just some. It's not even recommendations, but it's just some ideas I'm throwing out there so you know of several ones in case you're looking for a way to remotely interview your guests. These are four of them. So with Ali2, again, you can just go to the page, look up some of these right here. You'll be able to see. I'm just going through them fairly quickly because it's not anything that's really intensive that we need to go over. It's just a presentation of some of these. Okay. Cost, we have $99 a month. They do have a 7-day free trial, in which you can see some of these right here. Uh, they break it down and you can see all of the benefits of each what you're getting for that cost. You get the hosting up to $1,000 per month and all of that. So go in there and read some of those right there. Again, not telling you to get it because it's not one that I use. I'm going to save the best for last. At the end, tell you which one to me is the absolute best podcast hosting service. So hang with me. Let's talk Riverside. That's one that a lot of people use. I would recommend Riverside to people who are just kind of starting out as well. It does have some limitations, but again, you can see the files that it records in. It's WAV, MP3, MP4. Also does the video for Riverside and transcriptions. It gives you split tracks and it has limited editing. Again, I've kind of explained some of those things to you already. Split tracks, transcription. That's basically kind of self-explanatory, but it is the written wording of your episode, whether it's you or a guest. We have AIs that will transcribe word for word everything you say. There are some important features of why you should have that, but we'll get into that to another video. Matter of fact, if you want to see an extra video on some things like that, put in the comments, hey, I want to see some more, right? I'm more than happy to show you why you need transcriptions and how that helps you out, right? All right, next, we're going to look at some other parts. Oh, actually, before I even do that, Riverside, I'm finish telling you that Riverside also is mobile. That's another great advantage for it. Again, it works Mac and PC, some of the files there. And you can also do live streaming with Riverside as well. Okay. So that's some of the great things about that. Here's some of the guest requirements that you have for that. But it has guest requirements for Riverside in which your guest has to do certain things. Riverside has no video that they give out, no transcriptions, no editing, and a couple other things there as well. Okay, so here's a short video on the Riverside I was kind of telling you about. Now, out of the other ones that we just saw, I would still recommend Riverside over the other two that we just saw a second ago, Squadcast and Alitu. But again, it's all cost effective and what you're looking for, whatever works for you. I know Ecamm does not work for a lot of people because it's Mac only. So let's go ahead and cut it right short right there. Unless you have a Mac or upgrading to a Mac or even get a Mac Mini to put into your monitor, hey, that's the only way you'll be able to work with Ecamm. So just to give you a heads up. But some of the plans for Riverside, we can see they do have a free plan, which you get. Of course, you know, you get what you pay for. So you pay for it, you only get 2 hours of audio tracks. They have the standard $19 a month, the pro plan $29, and then the business one. You'll be able to see some of these here. Let me scroll up for you. But it has a watermark on the free version, so of course they put their logo on it. One of the things people don't want that on their podcast, someone else's company being watermarked onto them. The $19 gives you five hours a month. So again, take this with a grain of salt. Look into it. Maybe try the free version and whatnot, and you'll be able to see that. But the best remote podcasting recording tool on the market is Ecamm. I'm part of the Ecamm fam. We want you to be part of it as well. Ecamm gives you live interviews. It gives you a virtual mic and webcam. And again, I won't go too deep into what those do and what those are. Again, put it in the comments if you'd like to see a specific video on that, and I have some, and I'll make sure that you get it. But it records in 4K and it streams in 4K. So if you're doing live streaming, you want your quality to be crisp. Well, that's what Ecamm does. And also, live happens. Ecamm gear, right? But yes, you get to stream in 4K. You get live video monitoring to any display. What does that mean? That means I get to monitor in real time what's happening on the camera, on the screen. So I get to make adjustments on the fly if there is something that needs to be done. And to me, that is a big win, right? I need to know if my guest camera is glitching or if it's starting to blur, and I can make adjustments live while I'm doing it as well. Ecamm also gives you isolated audio and video. What does it mean? Basically, this: if I'm recording myself and my guest has, or matter of fact, three guests. Let's say I have multiple guests, and one guest is having sound issues. I get three separate tracks from each of the guests, so I can edit one track individually instead of getting one mass track of everyone talking. Now it's so much more work in order to make any editing and adjustments for that. It gives me recording, audio monitor output. Again, same thing. I can hear and listen in real time if something's happening, and I can adjust it on the fly, right? Real time bandwidth stats, so I know how much power, how much energy is being exerted to the bands, to the platforms, and I can cut one back. I know that if I am streaming to multiple locations, I know that I may not be able to stream as clearly because it's overdoing the bandwidth, right? I get that in real time. And also VIT tech support. And along with the tech support, I'm going to tell you one of the most important things about this. And I'm coming back here so I can maybe just get direct with you. All of the platforms are great. StreamYard, OBS, VMix, any of them, but Ecamm tops them all. And for me, one main reason is the community, the family. If you have an issue, Ecamm is there. The support is there. Now, here's a great part about this also. Ecamm at the moment is running for the month of July a 30% off deal. Make sure you message me or put in the comments you're interested in that, because this month only, you get 30% off the one time payment. I'm going to tell you, and let me give you a little hint. If you do the month payment, you get one time. That means you go back to paying the regular cost per month. If you do the annual, it's one time. It's 30% off, and then that is your payment. It's the most value for the bucks. You might as well go for it. So thank you for taking a moment and listening. If you have questions, again, throw them in the comments. I appreciate that. Also, if you're watching on that Tubi thing, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell. Let me know that you're interested in seeing more great content like this so you can get notified when it comes out. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for taking the time and listening. And make sure you continue to listen while you are alive.